Chapter 505. It was as good as a declaration of, "Let's not discuss this matter further." None of the nobles present dared to counter the statement. Sitting alone at the top of the staircase behind Duke Diarca, even the crown prince seemed to tacitly agree as if he had heard nothing. This was the power and influence that Duke Diarca held. At a time when other noble families were not faring well, his weight in the situation was incomparable to anyone else's. For the Duke to even converse with a commoner was already remarkable. It was only natural that anyone less would be treated as insignificant and ignored. Everyone thought as much. The commoners of the cavalry have made some impressive advances by involving an outsider, but we will let this go. It would be a relief if I don't hear news about that male escort being killed on his way home tonight. The only person who can make that decision would be His Majesty the Emperor, don't you think? Therefore, when Yudhir responded in such a manner, many doubted their own ears. Yudhir stood in his spot, his demeanor unchanged from earlier. No shift in his expression could be discerned as he faced Duke Diarca. It was as if, in Yudhir's eyes, he was no different from Baron Dermond. The nobles present were shocked. A few nobles looked at Yudhir's face as if they were looking at a man who would soon be dead, whispering among themselves. With a steely gaze, Yudhir looked directly into the eyes of the aging duke and continued. To speak frankly, the one who bought an unauthorized gift is also the person who abruptly rejected my proposal for a toast. We cannot simply overlook this inexplicable situation based on someone's word. This is because the safety of His Majesty, the Emperor, and all the attendees is at stake. To dare refer to the Duke as someone, nobles loyal to the Diarca family glared at Yudhir with faces flushed in suppressed fury and disbelief. ... However, aside from the immediate need for an investigation, I have my suspicions. Perhaps the person who asked for trust in me and the cavalry has no trust in us. Maybe that's why you're avoiding the toast despite no issues. Yudhir directed a chilling smile and his gaze toward Baron Dermond. His slowly uttered words spread like a chill of a winter wind. Just as I thought. What nonsense are you spouting? Baron Dermond shouted. Even if it were true, he had to vehemently deny it here. Is it? Yudhir spoke as he twirled the glass in his hand, just like Duke Diarca had done earlier. Then prove it. Instead of flatly denying it, make everyone else see and believe, just as Yudhir has done. Baron Dermond's eyes twitched as he had heard an unsaid implication. We have many capable members in our cavalry. With their skills, there is no need to call for an outside investigation. If Baron Dermond would kindly lend us the food he consumed and his hand, we would solve everything. As if struck by invisible force, everyone's head seemed to lower. Baron Dermond clenched his fist, as if Yudhir would grab his hands right away. What are you talking about? An investigation by the cavalry? Are you threatening me? What do you intend to do? Curious about our investigative methods? Then grant us permission to proceed. Yudhir had said nothing about how he planned to utilize the members of the cavalry who had special abilities. This silence cast confusion and uncertainty into the minds of nobles who knew little about the Awakeners. Most of the cavalry are like you, having only the power to destroy things, or so I heard. Was I mistaken? You are bluffing by saying that difficult tasks can be easily accomplished even with magic tools. Yet, even while thinking this, a chill ran down their spines whenever they caught sight of the massive monster standing far behind Yudhir. Could there be truth to his claims? Such were the thoughts that crossed their minds. Do you think you can insult me like this and pay for it when my innocence comes to light? Baron Dermond muttered, grinding his teeth. His eyes were quite menacing, but Yudhir simply chuckled briefly. What is there that can't be repaid? How dare you? So, do you have an answer yet? And what if I can't accept? To this question, laden with malice and anger, Yudhir responded calmly. If Baron Dermond has no intention of cooperating with the investigation, Then I intend to start by examining the wine I have been given. Why would you? Well, I would like to know why you are so reluctant to drink this wine. I can't allow that. It's already in my possession, so my examination doesn't require your permission. Baron Dermond felt uneasy, as if either knew something yet also seemed ignorant. Could it be that he knows the wine was drugged? But that's impossible. The gifted wine had failed to produce any effects. It had been proven safe, so there was no cause for suspicion. The drug added was potent enough to cause immediate reddening of the skin, severe abdominal pain, and vomiting, symptoms that could easily be mistaken for poisoning. It was prepared carefully to look like normal wine. It was inconceivable that Udir and his cavalry were aware of it. If they had known, they wouldn't have drunk it. But the ambiguous behavior and the lack of an adverse reaction raised suspicions. Confused thoughts ran wildly through Baron Dermond's head before suddenly coming to a halt. Could there be a traitor among us who helped prepare this? It couldn't be. They had checked multiple times. It wasn't initially his responsibility, but he had gotten involved personally to please Duke Diarca. There had been no mistakes. But what if there really was a traitor? He couldn't ignore the growing self-doubt, and neither would Duke Diarca. Baron Dermond felt a cold chill at his back. Before he could determine its source, another noble standing next to Duke Diarca exclaimed loudly, "Baron Dermond, why not simply drink it yourself then, to ease Duke Diarca's burden and keep the party going? It seems like the best option." "If you're so eloquent, surely a sip of wine won't be an issue." These were the people who had prepared this event with Baron Dermond. They stepped in immediately to alleviate Duke Diarca's suspicions after witnessing Udir's strange behavior. If Baron Dermond drank the wine and remained unharmed, it would mean that there was indeed a traitor among them. But what would it mean if the opposite were true? No, even if I drink, could I ever truly escape the chains of this suspicion? Baron Dermond realized he had been cornered. He couldn't understand why things had turned out this way so suddenly, but he was too afraid to refuse. The gaze of Duke Diarca, who silently stared at him, was dreadfully intimidating. "Very well, it seems you are not wrong." Finally, Duke Diarca broke his silence. The words that came from his lips were as damning as a death sentence. "Bring a new glass." "Yes." Those around immediately fetched a new glass. Udir Ale courteously poured new wine into it. The sound of the liquid dropping seemed like flowing of a river in hell. "Take it. ... Dermond hesitated, unable to readily extend his hand. Duke Diarca urged him on. "Dermond, drink." "Your Grace." Dermond desperately called out to Duke Diarca, but the Duke's expression remained unchanged. Reluctantly, Dermond took the glass, careful not to let his hand tremble. He brought it close to his lips. Instead of the sweet aroma typical of wine, a bitter, pungent smell wafted from it, almost rotting his nose. The claim that no one had ever been harmed by drinking Quelichet was a lie. Baron Dermond had never once tasted this wine himself. ... Dermond's breathing quickened. Moments later, he braced himself and took a sip. Everyone watched as his Adam's apple bobbed. And then moments later, a red rash spread across Baron Dermond's face and body, and he vomited violently. He collapsed right there and then. Just before losing consciousness, the last thing he saw was Udir Ale's unfathomably dark eyes.